Hey my dolls, today's look is going to be the super simple sultry smoky eyes that you can literally wear for any occasion, for the office, for school, for a party, for anything that you want. And the best part of it is we're only using drugstore products. I'm going to start off with my Magic Lumi foundation, and for concealer I'm using Maybelline's Instant Age Rewind and Fit Me concealer, and we're going to be setting that with a little bit of banana powder by Ben I. And I have a full video where I show you guys my foundation routine, so that's why I'm speeding up through this. And then to set the rest of my face, I'm using my Fit Me powder, also by Maybelline, and I'm using this little brush by BH Cosmetics, and I have a full review on a kit from where I got that. For my brows, I'm using this brow pencil by ELF, which I really recommend. It's like $2. My brows last all day, and yeah, I'm setting it with a little bit of clear mascara, and that one is by Wet n Wild. And to prep my lids for eyeshadow, I'm going to be using this eyeshadow base by NYX in the tone Skin Tone. And next we're going to be setting that with a little bit of eyeshadow that is very similar to your skin tone. I'm using this one by Maybelline, and I believe it's in the tone of beige, and I'm using the same Zoeva brush to blend that out. Now I'm going to be taking this little smudging brush by Real Techniques and taking the darkest brown eyeshadow. It's a definer shadow from this Wet n Wild palette in the Naked Truth. We're going to be placing that and packing it on the outer lid, and then we're also going to be running it on the outer part of the lower lash line. And I'm taking the base shadow, which is a very light peach, and a blending brush. We're going to begin blending out the edges of the dark brown, and we're going to be blending little by little into the crease, just so that we get the crease a little bit defined, but you want to keep the darkness on the outer V of the eye. And we're going to have to repeat this process a few times until you get a nice intense outer V, but at the same time like really nicely blended. So just go back and forth, pack on the product, and go back and blend until your hands get tired, and then you'll be good to go. Now from this little Ipsy shadow collaboration trio with NYX, taking the lightest shade from the palette, we're going to be packing that on the lid using a packing flat shader brush. Now going back to the Wet n Wild palette, we're going to be taking the lightest brown in the palette, that is the definer, and we're going to use this color to kind of like marry the dark brown and the champagne color shadow. So we're going to apply it right in between the two just to get a nice gradient effect. Now to line the eyes, I'm going to be using this gel liner by L'Oreal in the tone Espresso. And I'm not creating a wing liner or anything dramatic today. I'm just going to be lining the roots of my lashes to create a nice base for my false lashes. I'm also going to be tight lining, so the waterline for the top and bottom lashes, and then taking a little bit of the dark brown eyeshadow, we're going to make sure that we smudge that liner out. Again, going back to the Wet n Wild palette, we're going to be taking the shadow that is meant for the lid. It's kind of like a grayish brown, and that one we're going to run it in the inner part of our lower lash line and mixing it with the brown with a blending brush later on. Next, I took the lightest shade from the Wet n Wild palette. It's kind of like a white frosty color, and we're going to use that to highlight the inner corners of the eyes and also your brow bone. And I'm using a pencil brush from Sigma, and then I go back in to blend it with a blending brush. That is super important to do after pretty much almost every step. You need to blend. I'm just applying a few coats of mascara, and it's time for false lashes, and of course this is optional. I am using one of my favorite lashes, which are Wispies by Ardell. And then moving on to the face, we're going to be contouring today using this Wet n Wild palette. I think it's a Pro palette it's called, but it's a really good palette for the price. And the brush that I'm using is an angle brush by Sigma. I do have a coupon in case you guys are interested. You can get 10% off. I leave the link to their website and the coupon code in the description box. So just contouring pretty much anything that you want to contour on your face, my nose, my chin, etc. And then for blush, no surprise, I'm using Luminoso by Milani, which is one of my favorite drugstores. You know what? It's one of my favorite blushes, period. I really like it. And the brush that I'm using is a contour brush, dual fiber brush from Real Techniques, and then using the yellow powder from that Wet n Wild contour palette. That was difficult to say. I'm going to just highlight the rest of my face. This is kind of like the matte highlight. At first when I put it on my forehead, I got a little bit scared, but it actually blends in really nicely into my skin. And I'm also using the yellow powder with a little sponge to sharpen up that contour. Girl, that contour needs to be on fleek. And then we're using highlighter next, which I love. This highlighter is by Physicians Formula in the tone Vegas Strip. It was one of my favorite highlighters ever, and I still go to it. I still use it. It's really amazing and super affordable. And then on the lips, I'm using this Wet n Wild liner, which I cannot remember the name. And for the lipstick, I'm using by Maybelline. It's called Sultry Sensuelle number 200. And that pretty much completes the look. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the video, that you found it helpful. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I see you guys next time. Don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Bye.